So, who am I speaking to?
You're talking to Prisca.K.Nyabadza.
Mm-hmm. Who are you? What do you do? What do you do, Miss Prisca?
Depends, because your question sounds a bit broad.
Probably intentionally.
I can be a lot of things.
Probably intentionally, I guess. Tell us everything besides being superwoman. I guess I'm gonna just throw in superwoman.
Currently, I'm a music promoter. Started as just an event planner, then migrated from being just an event planner to becoming a music promoter. But that didn't stop me from still planning events. I am still planning events.
Okay.
So I'm actually doing both.
Okay.
Event planning and also promoting artists at the same time.
I saw on a poster, Empress P. Is that the little nickname on the side, Empress P? It was on every post. I was like, okay, Empress, I'm blessed to have the Empress with us.
Well, it's just a name that just popped up sometime this year when we were doing our first show.
Okay.
When we invited Killer T in February. So that's when the name just popped up, and
you've embraced it.
Boom, up until now.
Empress P.
Yeah.
So before Empress P, talk to me about your early days. You are from Mutare?
Yes.
So you were born and raised in Mutare?
Yes, born and raised in Mutare. Okay. Though I'm a mixed breed. My mom is Ndebele and my dad is Shona.
Okay. So you speak both?
Yeah, a bit.
Okay.
Just that my Ndebele these days is no longer that fluent because I haven't been going there a lot.
Okay.
And I haven't been interacting with Ndebele people a lot.
Right.
But yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
Still there.
How was growing up in Mutare, in the streets of Mutare? How was that?
It was actually fun. Because during my time, things weren't as hard as they are now. You used to just get whatever you want whenever you want. Unlike these days now, it's impossible. It's close to impossible, actually. So yeah, my childhood was actually great.
Okay. Did you know what you wanted to be when you were younger? It's a question I've asked myself that question before.
Well, initially I wanted to be an air hostess.
Okay.
Then along the way, it just changed.
Why? What happened?
I don't know.
Afraid of planes.
Yeah, there was a time when I was so afraid of heights, but I do love traveling a lot.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm going to jump in, I'm the same. I love traveling, but I am terrified of planes. I'd rather, if it was me, I'd rather drive somewhere than, and I'm talking about if it is I'd happily drive 4 or 5 days than take a plane. That's how, I don't like planes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just realized that maybe I can be more than what I want to be with time. And that's how I got here.
Okay. So, did you go to high school? You were in high school?
Yes.
And then what happened after high school? University or college or?
Straight after high school, I went to college. I was in SA for about 6 years.
And what did you study then?
In my first year after my high school, I studied beautician. I was a cosmetologist. Then after that, I did marketing.
Okay.
Then after that, I also did call center management.
Okay. So how was it telling your parents that you were going to go to college to study to be a beautician? Or telling your family that you're going to go study to be a beautician and not a typical doctor or engineer or lawyer? You're like, mama, I'm going to be a beautician.
Well, to them at first, it was kind of shocking because they weren't expecting it. So later on, they just got used to the idea and they were so supportive. They were very supportive. Because at times I'll just do stuff, especially on my mom, I'll just do stuff on her, like doing her nails, doing her makeup and stuff like that. So that's when they realized that I really was serious about doing the beautician thing. So they were very supportive all the way.
Even now, do you still have that passion for beautician now, years later?
Yeah, I do. Just that at times, with my busy schedule, I sometimes don't even have time for makeup.
Okay.
As long as I do the basics, then I'm good to go. But there are times when I just wake up feeling like doing makeup all the way.
And then you go all out.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so South Africa happens, and then do you immediately come back to Zimbabwe, or do you stay in South Africa after your courses?
After my courses, I came back to Zimbabwe. Then there's a time when I was working as a merchandiser at Unilever.
Okay.
I was using my marketing skills. At that time, I was a brand activator for Unilever products. So I was back in Zim for about 3 years. Then I went back again to SA. That's when I stayed for about 2 years. I never really stayed in SA for long because every time I was in SA, I would be homesick. Then I'd come back home. So when I came back, that's when I was working under Greenwald Group of Companies. It's a herbal company. So because of my marketing experience, I became a health consultant and also a business trainer. So when I was doing the Greenwald thing, that's when I met a bunch of friends and we started doing the color run thing.
This is in Mutare?
Yes, in Mutare.
Tell me more about this color run thing. Yeah.
We used to do family shows. We just look for a venue which is conducive. We bring a lot of activities from horse riding, face painting, a whole lot of stuff for kids. Then the first time we did that show, it was just us, and it was a bit tough because we didn't have a lot of money at that time. So our first edition was a bit tough, but it was a bit fun. It was also tough on the part that people didn't really understand what color run was all about. So with time, people got to understand and got to enjoy more as time went on. Then our second edition was also a bit different from the first one because people were now getting used to the idea. Then the third one, that was
the one.
The one.
That was like the one.
Exactly. Because it was more like we had shut down the whole of Mutare. Everyone was where the color run was. So it looked at it as if it was growing bigger by the year. Even the last one we did last year, it was a bit different. And at that time, people were so excited because it was just after COVID restrictions were being a bit adjusted. So we actually decided to do it out of Mutare, just out of Mutare. It was still in Manicaland, but out of town. So we also engaged partners like Zim Parks. They're the ones that assisted us with the venue. Then we also engaged Diamond FM for marketing purposes. So it was actually a big thing. We did it at Osborne Dam. So it was really good. People really enjoyed.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's go back a little bit because this is a great story in the end.
Right.
And this is like amazing, right? How I love how like and I've sat with a number of women now who tell me about like how difficult it is in the beginning, and then you have that breakthrough which happened with you in the color run. But I want to take you back to that first show of color run. So you come up with this idea. You want to do this idea. My first question I'm wondering straight off the bat is, how do you approach the venue? And what does the venue say? Does the venue come and say, okay, Prisca, but we want so? I mean, like, how do you approach the venue, and what was your strategy to approach the venue, the first one? Because obviously, right, you do the second one, it's easier because you're based on the first one, then obviously the third one, they're based on the second one, and then the fourth one, obviously, people are coming to you. I'm sure you went to Zimpax. Zimpax was like, great, we'll give you a spot. So how was approaching, my question is, how was approaching that first venue for the color run, and were you scared, or what strategy did you use to approach that first venue to give you guys a chance?
It was a bit difficult because we had a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's so
We
the
had a
color
lot
run
of
is this, and then
explaining.
there
So
we
we're
have
like,
horses, and
what
then
will
we
you
have
be doing with the colors? What's up with the running?
Yeah.
What exactly are
Yeah.
you saying?
Right.
So you had to explain thoroughly and make them understand and make them buy the idea and make them excited about the idea. It wasn't easy, but eventually
Did you go
hope
to a few venues, or you knew the one venue that you wanted and that was your target, or did you have to go through? Was there a lot of no's? I guess is what I'm asking.
We approached 3 different venues, but in those 3 different venues, uh, one venue was actually convenient in terms of security wise and also space. So we ended up sticking to that one venue. That's when we ended up having to like keep putting pressure on the venue owners. So they got to understand, like, okay, let's just give it a try and see how it goes. So they were like, what's in it for us?
Right. Yeah. And what was in it for them?
Like the advantage with the venue, they have their own bar.
Okay.
So automatically the bar takings will definitely go to them.
Right.
And amazingly, the bar did very well that day. So after that event, they were like, okay, so when is your next event?
Isn't it funny how quickly it changes?
Yeah,
it's so funny how quickly that
is.
changes. Like yeah, it's amazing like how it can flip just like that,
Yes.
from being like begging and explaining to
Exactly.
being like, oh yeah, cool, yeah. So choose your date. We want you back.
Yeah. So yeah, from there things have been easy, and
Okay.
our name has been all over in Mutare. People now know us. So it's easy for us to knock in people's offices looking for help, wanting to do stuff with them and stuff like that. Because they now trust our brand.
So talk to me about the brand Dream Team. Is that the way?
Yes.
Talk to me. How did you? Yeah. So how did this? So you said this is a group of friends.
Yes.
Okay. And
So on the 4 of us, each and every one of us has a role they play in the events.
okay.
Like there's one called Blessing Saunyama, also known as Hanky B.
Oh, so you all have nicknames, all right? So we have to go through all these
Yes.
nicknames now. We have to go all through.
Then
Hanky B is in charge of what then?
security. He is
the big one.
big.
Okay, all right. Yeah, okay. Hanky
So
B
he's-
makes sense.
He's in charge of the security.
Okay.
Then we also have Tinashe, also known as Gels.
Gels.
Yes, he's in charge of the media.
Okay.
Then there's also one called David. He's in charge of advertising.
Mhm.
I also help him with advertising.
Okay.
So yeah, each and every one of us has a role. Yes.
While we're on that subject, is I noticed they're all men.
Yes.
How is that being the Empress P in your group there? Do they
I'm
listen?
I'm
Are you-
used to it now. I actually feel comfortable. There's this other time when I was when I invited Enzo.
Mhm.
All of them were men.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my.
at the B&B, I booked for them. I also did everything for them, cook for them, make sure
Oh,
they've
wow.
eaten, make sure they've bathed with warm water since it was cold.
Yeah.
So at one point, I was looking at everyone in the lounge and I was like, okay, all these are men and I'm the only
wow.
female, and it feels normal.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
I was like, okay, yeah, this abnormality has become normal now.
Yeah. This is the
Yeah,
life.
I'm actually used to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. Good for you.
In the times I actually feel like I think like them.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because you spend so much time. You're like, yeah,
Exactly.
this is, I'm part of the
that-
boys now.
Yeah. And this other time, one of my friends were like, so where are we going to go, boys? I was like, oh, are you also talking to me?
Oh, you're like, yeah, guys, I'm here
And
too.
I was like, are you not one of us?
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
okay.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just used to being around.
You're
them.
one of the guys now. You're
Yeah, I'm
part
one of the
us.
guys.
So, okay, so the color run, so now we can move forward. So the color run happens. Then how does Empress P move into music? What was the click when you said, let's try this with music? Because I'm guessing that was your next move, right?
Yeah.
Or did you do something
it
else
was just
before?
something which was in the pipeline, but I didn't think it would happen so soon because I was so hesitant at first. So one of our friends was approached by Killer T's manager, and he was like, can you have a slot for us for a show in Mutari? Then he was like, I'll talk to my other teammates and I'll let you know how it goes. So when they spoke about it, I was like, okay, it's a good deal, but I've never done artists before. Do you think we can handle this? Then we were just, encouraging each other that maybe we can actually hit a jackpot here. You never know. Let's just give it a try. Then, boom, we gave it a try, and it was worth it.
Wow.
So from there up until now, it's been amazing.
I'm guessing this is something you want to continue in, music. No
Yeah.
music. Do you want to mix it both with the color run? Or did you have any other events you were looking at?
Yeah,
or?
I want to mix it both with color run because that's the only thing that was missing in our color run events. Having
was
an
music.
artist.
So you want to combine the both?
Yes.
That's a great idea.
So yeah, it's just the missing piece that was missing in the color and puzzle.
Okay.
So now that I'm used to it, I now have enough experience. Not enough exactly, but at least I now have the know-how of how to do it. I can actually merge both.
Talk to me, since you've now are in the music industry. What do you think of our music industry right now in Zimbabwe?
Our music industry is great. It just needs a bit of panel beating, but it's actually great.
Okay. Yeah.
From both the promoter side and also the artist side.
Okay. So let's focus. Let's zero in then on the promoter side. What do you mean then more when you say panel beating? If we're looking more on the promoter side.
Like at times, some of these artists I talk to, they are complaining about how some promoters handle them. And they tell you that if you want to do an event with us, make sure you don't go to place A, B, C, D because I once did a show there and it didn't end well and stuff like that. So yeah,
and how
goes both ways.
And how are you then? Are there many music promoters in? Let's just start in Mutare, or are you one of the many few?
Well, I can't really say there are many. At the same time, I can't really say there are few.
Okay. So there's a group of you.
Yeah, there's quite a number.
Okay. All right. So that's good.
It's quite a number. But so far, on the female side, I haven't heard of anyone else besides me.
All right. Yeah, because I was asking more about the female side.
On the females, I haven't heard of anyone besides me so far.
Why do you think there are not many female music promoters?
One thing I noticed about Mutare women, they kind of scared about trying things. They're kind of scared about trying new things. They have a negative mind more than a positive mind, which is not really good because with me, I just believe in taking risks because I believe in high risking, high returns normally, and it works perfectly for me. The more I risk, the more I get returns.
Were you always like this then when you were younger? Was it always the higher risks, higher return sort of thing? Or what was the switch? Okay.
I think so. Because basically I grew up in a male-dominated environment. In our family, we're 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls. And with my sister, we didn't really grow up together because when she was in high school, I was still in primary and she was in boarding school. And as soon as she finished high school, she went straight to SA. Okay. So we never really had time together, of which most of my time I spent with my brothers. So I think that's why it feels...
one of the guys anyway.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why it feels normal to be around guys for me because I grew up like that. So yeah.
I'm trying to think how I'm going to ask this question, but I'm just go ahead and ask it. In the terms of being a female promoter, and this show is just for women, what are some of them? Have you faced any challenges then as a woman in this industry of ours?
A lot. Because in most cases, men always expect that they're the only ones that can do it. Yeah. But in our group, I just got to realize that most of the decisions, the guys will be like, so what do you think we should do here? It's more like I'm the final decision maker in the whole equation, which is kind of heavy on me because I'll be like, okay, so all these guys are banking on me. What if I mess up? What will happen? Automatically the blame will be on me because I'll be the one who would have given the final say. So yeah, at times it can be scary, but it's fun at times.
Okay.
Knowing that people actually value your opinion at the end of the day.
So then, what do you? And this is, I'm sure our listeners would love to hear this, and I'd love to know. So, what do you tell yourself then, Prisca, in those situations, when you are maybe doubting yourself, or and then link it with what would you tell other women then, who are thinking, who have this negative side that you've talked about in Mutare, that are like, oh, I've always loved music and I want to get into the music, into the music business and be a promoter or be an artist. What would you advise people?
What I always tell people, like in my circles, I just tell them that if you feel like you want to do something, don't worry about what people think or say. Just go for it. Because because of the things I've done, a lot of people have always advised me against it. And the more I do the things I'm advised against, the more I go far. So yeah, I just enjoy going the opposite direction of what people are saying. That's just me.
And it's worked out?
Yes, perfectly.
So, what is a normal day then for Miss Prisca? If you're back in Mutare, it's middle of the week. Talk to me about, do you have a schedule for I'm talking about the weekdays. Obviously, I think you work on the weekends as well now, if you have any shows. What is a normal day for you? Like, what time do you wake up, and then what happens? Do you have meetings involved? And then what time do you go to bed? Or is it today is a different day from the next day?
Well, like usually I get to plan my day a day before if I have errands. If I don't have errands, it's just waking up, trying to think of ways of making money.
Okay.
Then if I find a new way of doing it, I start just trying to execute the plan. But normally I'm up by 5:30 every single day, whether I'm going somewhere or I'm not going anywhere. 5:30 I'll be up.
And what time do you go to bed?
Depends.
Okay. But 5:30, that's the one.
Yeah.
But going to bed is a different one.
At times, like if I'm so tired, I can go to bed at 7.
Mm-hmm.
At times, I can go to bed maybe at 3 a.m. 5:30, I'm up again.
Wow.
So yeah, it differs. Depends on the situation.
You mentioned one thing I just want to highlight on executing the plan. Or maybe I can try and help you by, okay, let's say there is an artist that's coming or that you want. Are you now in the position of inviting artists, or do you wait for artists to invite you?
I'm now in a position to invite artists.
Okay. So
I just look, like if I don't have that artist's number or the artist manager's number,
mm-hmm.
I just look for the number till I get it.
Okay.
And when I get it, I talk to the manager. I give them dates, then we talk about the charges. If we agree on the charges, then we put a date to our event.
Mm-hmm.
Then I start pushing for the event.
So, okay, so this is happening without the venue yet, or the venue has been placed before?
Like if we agree on everything, then I just go to the venue.
Okay.
I talk to the venue, find out if their date is available for my event.
Okay.
If it is, then we're good to go. I start printing posters already.
Wow. So this is the execution of it.
Yes.
So it's all about doing, right?
Yes.
So you have to do at the end of the day. You have
Exactly.
to find the numbers,
Exactly.
talk to the artists, have the meetings, talk to the venue, do the dates.
Exactly.
Okay. Doing, I like that. Okay, so as we round up, some quick fire questions. What motivates you? What inspires Empress B?
Well, quite a lot of things. Mainly my surroundings. My family inspires me a lot. Because at times I just come up with weird plans. Then I'll be like, okay, guys, what if I do this? Do you think it'll work? Then my nephews and nieces will be like, auntie, don't you think this is too much? Do you think you can handle this? Or they'll be like, okay, I think it's a good plan. So they are more like my advisors as well.
Okay.
The youngest of them being 4.
Oh, wow.
She also,
those are the smart ones.
Yeah.
Those are really
she's
smart
also a part of the decision-making panel
right.
in my life.
Okay.
So, like, if I want to do something, they'll be like, okay, you can also add this, you can also add that. The reason why I include them, especially in the family events, their kids.
Yes.
And they know what other kids want.
Yeah.
So the more they give me those their ideas, I also add those ideas to whatever I have already. And the plan goes.
And it goes well.
Yes.
Did you look up to anyone when you were? Do you look up to anyone that you're like, oh yeah, this was anyone that you look up to in terms of someone who's done what you're doing now in terms of being an event planner and music promoter, or you're sort of making your own path?
In a way, I'm making my own path because no one in my family has ever done what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm actually the first one. Because most of them are so into formal type of things.
Mm-hmm.
Doing office jobs, doing,
Boring.
the boring stuff.
The boring stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I enjoy doing this. I call it work
Okay.
because
Mm.
I understand that you have to do what you love and you have to
Yes.
love what you do at the same time.
Mm.
So I love my type of work, and at the same time, I enjoy doing it. So yeah,
Making your own path.
exactly.
I like that. So, last question. Where do you see yourself, Miss Prisca, Empress P, in the next 5 years? What do you want to have achieved? I know I could have said 10 years. I could have said next year. I want 5 years. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Like, what do you want to achieve with Dream Team? Or maybe what do you want to achieve by yourself or both?
I'm sure by then we'll have achieved a lot.
Mm.
Because right now we're working on buying our own equipment instead of
Hiring.
outsourcing to cut costs. So in the next 5 years, automatically we'll be having everything we need for an event. So I don't know, God knows. But all I know is I won't be the same Prisca I am today.
Do you feel like you have been evolving as Prisca from early childhood through high school to uni? Do you feel like it's just been an ever-changing, but in a good way, Prisca?
Yes. Yes.
Prisca, thank you so much for joining me on Just for Women.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow.
How was that? Told you it was
You
gonna
were
be.
grilling me.
I was grilling you.
Yes,
Oh my
you
God!
were.
Was I grilling you? What? But you were coming back fire. No, it was. Yeah, it was brilliant.
That's just
Prisca.
me. That's just me.
It's. Wait, what? But I'm not. How? Another question I was going to ask was like, how are the meetings then? Like, are they mostly by phone when it comes to the nitty gritty with the artist or the manager? Because right these days it's just the manager.
Yeah, it's usually on the phone.
Okay, cool.
We do video calls.
Okay.
Like,
So you see, you gotta be for that, right? You gotta be ready for anything that comes.
Exactly. Like with this technology thing, if there's we have to sign a contract,
Yes,
they
of
just send
course.
me the PDF, I sign it, I send it
to
back.
them.
Done.
Then done.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think it's gonna. I'm looking forward to following you. I think it's gonna be great.
Thank you.
So before we usually finish, we usually take a selfie.